It might sound a little crazy and unreal. How can an entire city be abandoned? But that's true. Many cities have been abandoned by the people due to several reasons. Let's get to know about these abandoned cities and the reasons behind abandoning them. Number 1. Hampi, India. Strolling through the incredible ruins of Hampi located in the central part of Karnataka in the southern part of India. It's easy to imagine this place teeming with life. In the 14th and 15th centuries had a population of 500,000 people, becoming one of the most imposing and important cities in the world. The capital of the Vijayanagara Empire, which was one of the largest Hindu empires in India, was destroyed in 1565 by the Sultanate's army. Beautifully preserved forts, temples, and markets that remain in Hampi helped to make it a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1986. Number 2. Mandu, India. Mandu, also known as Mandav or Mandavgad, literally meaning the city of joy, is an ancient destroyed city located in India's Madhya Pradesh region. Once magnificent, it has been abandoned and in ruins for over 400 years. Mandu is surrounded by 45 kilometers of walls and parapets built with rocks and salvaged material, interrupted by 12 portals. Today the city is sometimes inhabited by nomads. There are several palaces, baths, attractive canals, and artistically crafted pavilions. The rock-cut caves with enchanting paintings decorating the walls and ceilings are added attractions. Number 3. Oradour-Sur-Glane, France. Among the countless ghost towns that exist around the world, one, in particular, stands out as the small French village of Oradour-Sur-Glane, completely destroyed in one of the most terrible massacres of civilians in World War II, and the biggest in France. Oradour-Sur-Glane was a small French town in New Aquitaine when it was destroyed on June 10, 1944, 4 days after the Allies invaded Normandy. German troops put up resistance and exterminated all the inhabitants. When the conflict ended, Charles de Gaulle, the President of France, decided that Oradour-Sur-Glane would never be rebuilt or repopulate. The city would forever be an open-air museum. As a reminder of the dead, the ruins of the original village are still standing. Number 4. WHARRAM, PERCY, United Kingdom. Probably founded in the 9th or 10th century, undoubtedly one of the largest and best-known abandoned medieval villages in England which have been deserted for 500 years. Located in the beautiful hills of the Yorkshire Wolds, it once had 2 spectacular stately homes and a church. The church is a standing medieval building, but you can still see the grassed-over foundations houses, built by the noble Percy family, as well as those of the peasants' houses around it. The village's population has declined as local residents have left for sheep farming. It was abandoned shortly after 1500. Currently, the site is managed by English Heritage and is a major attraction for archaeologists and tourists alike. For over 60 years, archaeologists have pioneered new techniques here to understand what life was like in the village and why it was eventually deserted. Number 5. BELCHITE, Spain. BELCHITE is a village with a rich history dating back to ancient times. It became a significant battleground during the Spanish Civil War from 1936 to 1939. The war resulted in the destruction of houses, churches, and the massacre of townspeople. BELCHITE was once a thriving city but became a ghost town due to the war. General Franco's forces attacked and destroyed the municipality in 1939, and the town was never rebuilt, serving as a permanent reminder of the regime's power. The remaining ruins, bullet-riddled structures, and the cathedral stand as a poignant reminder of the horrors of war. Number 6. CRACO, Italy. CRACO, an ancient medieval village in Basilicata, Italy, was abandoned in 1963 due to a landslide. Situated on a rocky outcrop above the surrounding hills, the town boasted a university, castle, church, and squares, and served as a monastic center, feudal town, and hub of education. With its integration into the landscape and captivating atmosphere, CRACO has attracted filmmakers, featuring in movies such as Saving Grace, James Bond, Quantum of Solace, and The Passion of the Christ. Positioned on a 400-meter-high cliff, the ghost town of CRACO once offered panoramic views and served as a strategic lookout for potential invaders in the arid southern Italian countryside. Number 7. KOLMANSKOP, Namibia. KOLMANSKOP, a ghost town in southern Namibia, flourished briefly due to diamond mining. German miners settled there in the early 1900s, leading to significant diamond production. After World War I, the town declined, and it was eventually abandoned in 1954. Today, KOLMANSKOP is an eerie sight, with sand-covered houses. The town's museum displays mining tools and photographs, and some buildings have been restored for tourism. Number 8. BODIE, California. Located in California, BODIE was once California's second-largest city, which turned into one of the most famous ghost towns in the United States, surrounded by the rolling hills. It was abandoned at the end of the gold rush era. There were about 10,000 inhabitants, but they gradually left with the depletion of mineral resources. Some of the buildings in this ancient city are still standing and the interiors are intact. But the golden dream was short-lived and BODIE was almost completely abandoned by 1915. The people who lived there seem to have fled the city in a hurry and many of their belongings were left behind. A big void and BODIE became a real ghost town. Number 9. Hashima Island, Japan. Located in Nagasaki Bay, Hashima Island was established in 1887 by the Mitsubishi Group. Mitsubishi has invested millions of dollars in building an island around a coal deposit off the coast of Nagasaki, Japan. Surrounded by a sturdy breakwater wall, Hashima is also called Gunkanjima by the Japanese, or Battleship Island, as it resembles a battleship when viewed from above. More than 5,000 people lived in immense concrete buildings in the region until the country decided to extinguish its coal mines in 1960, which sealed the fate of the island since it was abandoned. Today, Hashima Island is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2015 and welcomes thousands of visitors every year. Number 10. PYRAMIDEN, Norway. PYRAMIDEN, a Russian city in Norwegian territory, is a ghost town and capital of the Svalbard archipelago, a group of islands that lies halfway between Norway and the North Pole. The city was founded at the beginning of the 20th century by Sweden and was eventually sold to the Soviet Union in 1927. The idea was that the place would offer schools, libraries, sports courts, theaters and cinemas, in addition to free and quality food for its residents, which worked for a long time. The project, however, was suddenly terminated in the 1990s, during the dissolution of the Soviet Union, and the mines were closed and everyone was forced to leave the city. At an old school in town, books were left behind and toys were lost from the children. Objects, household items left behind help tell the story of PYRAMIDEN. Number 11. PRIPYAT, Ukraine. PRIPYAT, a famous ghost town near the Ukraine-Belarus border, is closely associated with the Chernobyl disaster. Established in 1970, it had over 50,000 residents employed by the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. The catastrophic explosion on April 26, 1986, led to the evacuation of Pripyat and widespread radiation effects across Europe. Today, Chernobyl serves as a unique wildlife sanctuary, hosting various animals, but the vegetation remains stunted and animals have high levels of cesium-137. The area will be uninhabitable for humans for the next 20,000 years. Despite this, Pripyat has become a popular tourist destination, with thousands of visitors exploring the ruins each year. Number 12. VAROSHA, Cyprus. VAROSHA is not exactly a ghost town, but a huge abandoned neighborhood in Famagusta city in Cyprus. During the 1970s, the region turned into a bloody battleground between Greek and Turkish troops during Turkey's invasion of the island. The population fled as best they could and the Turkish armed forces isolated the city, which, in addition to becoming a popular tourist destination, ended up becoming a bargaining chip in the impasse between the two countries for the domain of Cyprus. Number 13. VORKUTA, Russia. Villages and ghost towns surround VORKUTA, in Russia is the fourth largest city north of the Arctic Circle and the coldest city in all of Europe, a legacy of a time when it had a thriving coal mine. Coal was mined by prisoners in the cruel and terrible Gulag in the area between the 1930s and 1960s. In the years that followed, miners were drawn to this brutal site to work for high wages. When the mine stopped following the collapse of the Soviet Union, people fled, leaving several villages that were covered in snow and frozen in time. Number 14. KAYAKOY, Turkey. KAYAKOY, once home to the Ottoman Greeks until the collapse of the empire in the 1920s, is a town situated on the Mediterranean coast in the Dodecanese region. Built in the 18th century, the citadel has endured natural disasters, fires, and subsequent rebuilding. It was inhabited by both Greeks and Turks until the Second World War, when conflicts led to the Greek population abandoning the area, including KAYAKOY. Since then, the town has remained completely depopulated, attracting tourists interested in its rich history and breathtaking landscapes. It has transformed into an open-air museum, preserving the heritage of the entire region. The juxtaposition of the old buildings against the surrounding mountains creates a captivating scenery. Number 15. Bankhead, Canada. The former mining town Bankhead is an abandoned small town that is located in Alberta, Canada, where the main economic activity during that time was the mining of coal. The mine at Bankhead had a population of about 1,000 people, with 275 of them working in the underground mines, while 155 workers were tasked with overseeing things on the surface. On average, the mine used to produce between 500 and 600 tons of coal every day. The miners and a coal mine, many of the structures and buildings were removed after the mine closed due to workers' strikes in 1922. But it is still possible to explore the area on an excellent interpretive walking trail, which wraps around the main buildings that are still standing and offers spectacular views of the surrounding mountains. And with that, we conclude our expedition through the 15 largest abandoned cities on our planet. These abandoned places offer us a glimpse into the past, reminding us of the rise and fall of civilizations. Remember to keep seeking out the stories that lie hidden within forgotten corners, as there are countless mysteries waiting to be unraveled. Until next time, keep exploring, keep discovering, and keep embracing the unknown.